Good evening, good morning. Welcome to the show that keeps on going regardless of quality. This is the Sting of Time episode
Fif-
16,
fif-
maybe?
15 or 16.
I believe it might be 16. I can actually check this. I wonder if you disappeared now. No, you do not. I feel like it's 16, but I'm not sure. It is 16. Indeed.
Sweet 16.
We didn't really do anything special this time. Just a pretty bog standard watch.
I think you did something, so I can't see you anymore. By the way, there you are.
There I am. Hello.
Hello.
Bog yeah, we do nothing special.
Very unspecial watch. We talked a lot during the watch.
Yes. Probably more than usual. I was gonna say that I think adding extra stuff into the watch, be that people or weird parameters, really sort of stem the tide of nonstop conversation about how bad the movie is.
Yeah, definitely. Because I felt really early on, or rather, I'll say this. Before we started watching, and it should be said that this is probably the earliest Scorpion King watch.
Absolutely. I think we started before 10, so
exactly, basically a morning watch. And I before we went into the watch, I was thinking how low energy I was going to be. Like how I'm just not gonna be into it today. And what happened was we just like motor mouth talked through at least the first half of the movie, just like nonstop, and then I kind of snapped out of it, and half the movie had gone by.
Yes,
so was how it felt.
Yes, I think the viewing of the movie was pretty quick, at least until like the last 30%, which went by really slowly.
As usual.
I'm on vacation currently. Or well, I have time off, I should say. I'm still at home, as is probably evident. People should be somewhat familiar with, the sisters.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a Bible. It's the New Testament.
I got it.
You got it now.
Yeah, I got it as well, but I threw it away.
Yes,
I'm dramatic like that.
It came in this plastic baggie.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which churches have been sending these out. I think it says it actually on the.
Yeah, when I was at home when they delivered it, so to say, and they couldn't get it through the mail slot in the door, so they like pushed and pushed, and I thought someone was trying to break in. so I was extra, not about it when I saw what it was. So I just threw it away immediately. I'd also seen one already at another house, so I recognized it immediately.
I got this. I'm not really one to throw away books to begin with, but I probably would have thrown this away.
Yeah, I had already read it because I had read it at my dad's house.
Oh, you read all of it?
I looked through all of it because I wanted to see what is actually in it, and you know what's in it? A lot of like what can you say? It's like ads for, here's our special radio channel that you can tune into, and like a lot of very weird stuff. Like, here's our super Christian car mechanic. We can bring your car.
Isn't it like the New Testament with added personal stuff by actual people or something like that? Anyway, I got it like this, and I guess friend of the show and the girlfriend of me, Anna, visited the same day I got this, and she started, I saw her on the corner of my eyes that she was doing this. She was going to open it. And I told her, you can open this, but then you own it. If you open it, it's yours. And she did it and then left it here. What an asshole. So I'm left with it. I guess I don't know, give it to one of the Somali Muslims here or something, so they can think I'm some sort of extremist.
Sounds good.
I don't know. I guess on the topic of the New Testament, we did discuss a lot about the message.
Yeah.
If the movie The Scorpion King has an
like what is the movie The Scorpion King trying to tell us, the viewer? Yes. What are we supposed to take away from it?
Is it saying anything? We decided pretty early on that the movie doesn't have any real. I don't think it has any real political message.
No, we were a bit going on a bit about like if it's pro or anti monarchy.
I think it's. I mean, the text of the movie is pro monarchy. I think.
Yeah.
Memnon isn't bad because he's a king. He's bad because he's a bad person.
Then we had like a bit of a retread about the stuff we've talked about before on how is Memnon actually a bad king? What is the moral dichotomy between Matthias and Memnon in terms of who is good and evil and all that sort of stuff.
I think we can get into that, but like, I do think it's probably unfair to say that the movie is pro-monarchy because I just think it doesn't really.
No, it doesn't really.
It doesn't really care.
Yeah, it doesn't really. It doesn't really address it in any way. It's like you're saying a movie is pro-grass because there's grass in it. I mean, it's just the way it is in the movie.
But as you said, because we've talked in the past a lot about Memnon and how he doesn't really do anything that is, from the viewpoint of the movie, very bad or like evil, I should say.
No.
Or maybe specifically, he doesn't do a lot of unjustified things. You could say it's bad to kill someone, but he's killing people who try to kill him. Or people who definitely break the law or stuff like that.
Exactly, like both the topic of how you as the audience are supposed to be like, oh no, Memnon killed Matthias' brother. How evil, he captured him and then killed him in front of him. Like they were assassins who were there to kill him.
And kill the sorceress, I guess.
Exactly, and he set a trap for them and defended the sorceress and himself, I guess, by proxy, and killed 2 out of 3 assassins. Like there's nothing super out of the box about that or whatever. But then also later in the movie, when you have the scene where the kid is about to get his hand chopped for allegedly stealing a blood ruby, we talked a bit about, and in the past we've talked about how this is not an outrageous thing that is taking place here, because it's the law. This is the setting of this movie is like several thousand years BC. There are not that many laws aside from "don't take my stuff."
and crucially, I think the important part here is that the movie, like, I'm sure you'll get to something about the kid, but like contextually, Matthias isn't a character with modern values that we're following that is against this system. Matthias is partaking in this. I guess he's sort of an outlaw-ish in that he's an assassin, I guess. Oh, sorry. But he isn't trying to, he isn't, I'm standing up for the weak. I am against the punishment in laws. Like, he kills 1 billion people and he threatens to kill and rape the sorceress.
Yeah. There's no way around it.
He beats up his friends, etc. Like he's not. He is of this world.
Yeah.
So it's from that context we're kind of looking at it.
Yeah, and we like not only the kid, but we started talking a bit about Philo's, King Theoden's character, how, or rather, I should say first, something we talk about within this context now and then is how the sorceress has a very weird outlook on her situation in the movie, and how she's like, I've Memnon's had me a prisoner since I was a child, and this is so horrible. But when the sorceress is living, the possibly best, most cushioned, safe life you can in this like in this era and setting and so on, and that she's not shown to suffer really, like in any way, except for the obvious, like, oh, she's suffering because she's not free to do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
And it's like but it's like a lot of the characters, the sorceress, Philos, they all said, like you said, like they seem to have these modern sensibilities about themselves, the like the era they live in, the place they live in, the situations they are in. They all approach them with, I think I said this much, but as if they had been teleported from our present time into being their characters, and they have such an unrealistic and like weirdly off perspective on the way their lives are. Specifically, I think I mentioned something like how, because we were talking about how Philos, you know, Philos, he is Philos being badly treated by Memnon or not? Was this question we kind of asked ourselves? And Philos says when he first meets Dwayne, Memnon's always threatening to have my head, or something like that, and but he doesn't really elaborate beyond that. And we talked about how Philos definitely seems like the kind of person who, he's upset because Memnon wants to use all my bombs and catapults for war, shock horrors and so on. But Philos is also, he has, his own laboratory. He lives in the palace. He is obviously, taken care of. He is even when an obviously antagonist to Phylos in Forak enters the room and is like, you're lucky that Lord Memnon has a taste for your science, or I would, if I find out you have anything to do with this intruder, I will send for the executioner and all that. But it's like that, but that's it. It's like, I suspect that you are breaking the law and working against ours and kind of your own interests. If that is the case, you will be punished under the whole extent of the law. And then it just it feels really like I don't know how to put it, but there's some spoiled ass characters in this movie.
Well, I said during the viewing that you get the impression that Philos as a character has a inherent drive to create inventions, to invent, and then obviously he isn't necessarily super happy with what Memnon is doing with his stuff, though seemingly Memnon doesn't need the inventions, but he isn't super glad about stuff being used for war. But you sort of, it feels like he's weighing his drive to invent versus the discomfort of knowing that some of his stuff will be used for war, and he's saying, well, my need to have funding, have patronage and a workshop outweighs my moral quandaries.
And I mean, like at that point, that is a choice that he has made.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like that sort of thing, like how it really feels like a lot of the characters like they I get this impression that it's so much, old man yelling at cloud stuff about the characters, and how is that when they are all in positions that would be like you couldn't achieve this position in a billion lifetimes. Back then
Mm.
you're just screwed. uh,
Yeah. I haven't really thought about this either, but so the sorceress obviously is not a big fan of Memnon,
no,
but you don't really get she's angry that she's not free. And she's obviously angry at Memnon because he's not free. But she isn't really angry at Memnon because he is the leader of a conquering horde.
no.
It's not that he's not, Lord Memnon is such a warmonger, because obviously she plays an immensely huge role in Memnon being able to conquer and annex uh, realms.
Yeah,
And obviously, you could say she's being forced to tell him the prophecies, but A, he has no way to know that they're correct or not. And B, if she was ethically so against it, she could give up her life. That's a big price to pay, of course,
yeah,
but, um, you know, not unheard of for fantasy stories to have characters make huge sacrifices to,
yeah.
display their stance in a moral quandary. Not a lot of stances in this movie.
No, I was gonna say that it's like there's something fundamentally off about the agency of the characters in general, like why they do and say the things they do, and it's always, I feel you can always kind of pick at it, like like a lot of other things in the movie, but like how, you know it feels like the audience is supposed to, you're supposed to think this, you're supposed to feel this, but they don't really give anything to the audience to, logically have those kinds of reactions to what the characters say and do.
Hmm.
But then, it kind of just keeps going anyway. uh this also reminds me about, we talked about Armpit a bit,
Yeah.
this viewing, about how specifically how Armpit is just treated like shit by
Yeah.
Matthias the entire movie, and how I said something like it's so kind of jarring how Matthias is one of the allegedly three last Acadians alive. His brother and buddy, or whatever he is, gets murdered. Matthias is all alone. He is caught by Memnon. Memnon has him dead to rights. He's about to get eaten by ants. Armpit, through use of knowledge, talents, and techniques that Matthias do not possess, manages to rescue him single-handedly and ask him to, share in the spoils of your adventures, take me with you, all that stuff. And then, Matthias like, oh, I promise, please rescue me. Oh shit, I'm gonna die, and all that. And then immediately after, it's all gone. And it's interesting how previously and this viewing we've compared Armpit to like this, Jar Jar Binks style character, but and it's like Armpit just stays this completely like doormat character the entire movie, and he seems to be like, fine with it. He never tries
Hmm.
to even, kind of like verbally confront Dwayne about anything about how he's being treated. Like the supposed leverage or whatever that he gained by "I have saved your life" never gets brought up again, and
No.
then he is literally just a punching bag for Dwayne the rest
Yeah.
of the movie. And like we've said before, he doesn't get any sort of payout at the end. It's the only thing he like, uh, because I said when we we're watching it, how he never like graduates from the Jar Jar Binks style character, because even someone like Jar Jar Binks has, you know, his during the battle against the battle droids, he did, you know, he destroyed a bunch of droids and he did heroic stuff during the battle and so on. But uh, the comparable thing with that with Armpit would be, he lights the fuse. He lights the fuse to destroy the temple, and that's, you know, his big contribution. Is like, was he in the movie the entire time just to be able to do that? And I mean, it's a complete, it's a waste of a character. It's a disgraceful way to treat someone who
Well, I
helps
don't
you.
know
And
if it's a waste of a I don't think I buy that. I think he has he does stuff in the movie. I don't necessarily.
well, what does he do
Well, he
except for save Dwayne and light the
yes,
fuse?
he does those two things. Those are two pretty major things, I think.
Well, yeah, sure, but
I don't.
I feel like I just feel like he is like I guess it's just that he, you know, disappears so much from the entire movie, and obviously he's just there to, you know, make weird quips and stuff,
Mm,
like obvious comic relief character, but it's so weird that he it's like he's quipping at himself the entire movie. Like it would I
well,
would
yeah,
have
sure. I agree that there's that nothing in this movie is good, so I don't think it's well executed. But I think my major issue with what Armpit represents, if we're talking about messaging in the movie, is how I think on the first viewing, because he's coded as a sort of slippery, roguish,
yeah,
quipping,
you know,
look out
the
for himself character, which he isn't. He isn't
exactly,
that. But when you watch it for the first time, you're like, okay, he's gonna get, you know, Dwayne uses him, but you know, this is a character that uses other people, so it sort of balances out. But you have to remember that the first time that Dwayne meets this character, Dwayne is in a position to save this guy's life.
yeah,
And what he does instead is beat him up. He knocks him out. So from the get go, Armpit has a pretty valid grudge against
exactly,
Dwayne. And instead of, you know, gloating and watching the ants kill Matthias, he rescues Matthias' life. And he doesn't really ask for much. He doesn't say, you have to, okay, now that I've saved your life, you have a life debt to me. You have to help me with this thing. He's basically saying, the first thing he says is, don't kill me. You have to
yeah.
promise to not kill me if I save your life. In which Matthias is like, almost reluctantly
Yeah,
agrees
like
to.
it's like and then that makes you think like, why did he want to kill
Yeah.
Armpit? And like, is he just a psychopath? Answer yes,
Yes, answer
but
yes.
and so on.
And the second one is share in the spoils of your adventures, which we know doesn't happen, but
Yeah,
is a pretty reasonable stance, seeing as we know that Armpit will play a pivotal role in the adventure.
exactly.
So even if you didn't, you know, say promise to let me share in the spoils, it would be weird with Dwayne to not do it. But he has promised to do it, and he doesn't do it. And then after that, we basically have Armpit do this giant, you know, gesture. He's reaching out to Dwayne, even though Dwayne is a shithead, and he saves his life. And as a reward for that, he gets treated like absolute shit.
Mm,
Even when Dwayne is not yet in love with the sorceress, has kidnapped her as ostensibly a tool in order to get at Memnon. Even then, he's like, I'm going to rape and kill you. By the way, you can ride on the camel.
yeah,
Armpit never gets that shit. He gets beat up and he has
never
to
gets
walk
right.
in the desert. So I don't know. I don't know what the messaging there is. No good deed goes unpunished, I suppose.
I don't think the movie has a message, and I hate saying that because feel like most things should have some sort of meaning
Mm.
to it, especially if it's well, that kind of goes into how we've said asked ourselves several times, but I think we officially asked ourselves, is Scorpion King art
Yeah.
this time? And I mean, it has to be because it's something that somebody created for
Yeah,
viewing.
it definitely brings up emotions.
Yeah,
So
but then it becomes a bit like does art need to have meaning? Yeah, and it's just about what it evokes. But then it's like, what does Scorpion King evoke? In me it evokes uh, negativity, drudge, feelings of drudgery. I don't know, but yeah, it is a bit frustrating how it's. It seems to have such a huge like identity crisis or something because it's supposed to be like this kind of uh you have to be able to say that it's a sword and sorcery style adventure or whatever, even if it might not have the proper atmosphere of that sort of thing. But it's like it's so weird how the characters and the way they talk and what they do and what they say and what happens, it clashes so much with what the movie is supposedly about. Like it's like you're watching, I don't know, it's like you're watching Commando or something
mm,
with swords. But I don't know, it's very weird. I'll have to spend at least another 15 watches thinking that one over.
yeah, it's a bit like sorry, I have to formulate this thought because it just popped up in my head.
Mm,
But it's a bit like if Uncharted was a movie, but it kept the gameplay.
yeah.
Like if you delete all the parts where Dwayne does action stuff and doesn't just, talk,
Mm,
then it feels like it makes more sense. But the movie has I was about to say Ludo narrative dissonance, but there is no playing here. But
yeah.
the movie has a Dwayne narrative dissonance in that his actions and his words, I guess his words are also fucked up, but he's like two different characters.
Yeah.
And as you said, a lot of characters are two different characters in that they don't sort of mesh with their role in the world and their actions. And the movie sucks. It's
Yeah,
bad.
it's really bad. I don't like the movie.
How are you feeling? And did you have a favorite moment this time around?
Yes. Oh, what was my favorite moment? The one you have to help me remember where I said I think this has become the yeah, this might have been my favorite moment in our previous viewing as well, but I don't care about that. But my favorite moment this viewing is when
I remember
Memnon
what it
is
is.
when he's readying the Scorpion arrow, and like I said, I might have had this before, but it's become a really funny scene to me when he's readying the like Scorpion blood poison whatever arrow, and he's saying, "Take 12 of your best men, go into the desert, find him, kill him." And I always imagine that he's talking to the Scorpion and not the Thorak, and it's really funny because he's the Scorpion King and he's ordering the Scorpions around. But it's actually it's extremely funny. It is so funny that only really funny people like myself can appreciate it.
Mm,
But I really did this time.
yes. Uh, I don't remember. This was probably mine last time, so I won't reuse it. So I'll say the guy on the very right in the end, where in the crowd when Matthias is the king,
Yeah,
he does this. I guess he was directed by David Hayter, who showed up to direct the crowd only.
yeah. famous director David Hayter.
Yes.
David Hayter did all of all the jobs on the Scorpion King.
Yes.
He was director, producer, writer, editor.
He's also playing Dwayne in a Dwayne suit.
Exactly.
Emotional state. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Let's talk about the project as a whole instead of just the viewing this time. Okay. How are you feeling about the project?
I was gonna say I'm feeling hungry because I haven't eaten anything today.
You could have eaten. You chose this.
Yes, that's a character inconsistency. Thanks for that, David. No, when it comes to the project as a whole, I still don't know why we are doing this. But I feel like a purpose is beginning to reveal itself, or rather, as a sort of like as I am searching for the meaning of the Scorpion King, the movie, like its message and so on. I feel like the meaning of watching a movie you don't like 52 times is starting to kind of creep out of the mysterious fog or so on, because I feel like when you with varying degrees of seriousness analyze something in this matter and do it regularly like this, you can start learning a lot about not only what really goes into making a movie and what is a movie, what is media, what is art, what is the role of the audience, and then like that sort of thing, and the way you can start to really start to think about details that were not something you would think about at all. Not necessarily, it can be just stupid, physical stuff, like why did they put this extra here? Why is this extra doing that? Why did they write this line that way, and so on? That sort of thing makes you really start to think about both like production stuff, but also
I thought you were gonna say both of these nuts and just end it there. That would have been truly
15 views too early for that.
Yeah, sorry.
But basically, it really makes it so, or at least I have started to think a lot about what is going on when you're watching a movie. Like what is it what happens in the brain, and not just because I watch I do normal person viewings of movies as well. I don't only watch Scorpion King 52 times, and it's really made me realize it's kind of changed how I watch other movies, and like what to watch for and how I think about them and so on. And
I'm gonna start playing the Oskar music soon. You're gonna have to wrap this up a bit. This is too long a thought. Too long.
I haven't thought about it that much at all. I don't know why we're doing it. Period.
Okay. Yeah. Great. I'm gonna try.
How do you feel about the project?
Similarly to you, I think I've reached a point, maybe like 2 or 3 viewings ago or something, where at least it does feel a little bit like an exercise in figuring out what poor writing is.
Yeah.
Like it isn't just like what it is structurally. What are the things that don't work? And this movie is isn't it like Alan Lee or something that says if you want to get better at writing, you should read a bunch of bad books and not do the things that are in those. I think it's good in that way, and in other ways, maybe it's just because it's just you and me today, and it's in our lonesome, but it's starting to feel very horrible to be alone with this movie, to be like we've sort of crested up and down a bit. And I think I've said this a lot of times that it's like, oh, okay, now is when the bad part begins. But today it is one of those today.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about this kind of thing, but like when we truly because this was a gimmickless watch, just a regular watch, and those are becoming pretty hard now, and I think we're going to run out of gimmicks.
Yes.
But we're gonna run out of guests, and we're gonna run out of gimmicks, and we will be faced with a lot of regular watches. Like
I think we should really pace ourselves with guests and gimmicks is what I'm feeling, because I cannot fathom like the last leg, the 18 last watches just being regular stuff. I can't do it. I just can't.
And we have talked about how or rather we have really tried to come up with just kind of intentionally stupid gimmicks to do, but I think we're gonna have to come up with really really stupid illogical gimmicks that or rather we have to stop thinking about like, wouldn't this kind of it doesn't have to make sense anymore.
No,
it's just watch the movie with your eyes closed. I mean it doesn't matter anymore.
No,
we're beyond that.
And with that bombshell, I think we're gonna call it and see you guys next week for another extremely positive viewing, I'm sure, where we will have a guest. So
yes,
one we've been trying to get on air for months. As always, I've been Leeloo. You have been Oskar. Do not watch the movie.
Please don't.